All right, we are live. Hello and welcome to a late night special episode with everybody's favorite Ergonaut, Joseph Armenio. Joe, it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. How you doing?
Pretty good. I think you oversold me there a
Did
little
I?
bit.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, no. Uh, We are
special.
live. Hello. I don't think so, sir. I just checked our stream. Our stream's working. That's a good
Awesome.
sign, right? I'm gonna post it in chat to see who's there. I'm telling them to be silly. Perfect. All right. We've got I've got my water glass to make sure that I have enough hydration during this chat.
Bravo.
You got some apple juice there, Joe? You got
Yeah.
apple juice? Perfect. Nothing
Yep.
like Colorado apple juice made from the fresh Colorado apple trees.
Yeah, we have some somewhere.
Perfect. All right, Joe, how's it going?
Good.
How do you feel
Good.
in this? What's it called? I was talking to Glasgow today, and I was like, if you listen to some people out there in the space, if because most a lot of the time, I've been so busy lately with Ergo, with the infrastructure now, trying to move machines around, trying to get them off centralized like Hetzner servers or unreliance on Cloudflare, load balancing, that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. You pick up your head once in a while and you listen to these guys. It's like the freaking world's fallen. It's like, what are you guys like? What are you guys looking at? Because I'm seeing these structures that we're building that are absolutely fantastic. Well, what the hell are they seeing, Joe?
Well, most people don't run infrastructure, right? That's I don't know how else to say it. Like, crypto has moved pretty far beyond this idea of peer-to-peer networks, right? And the space has only gotten dumber and dumber and dumber as people don't local host anything, right? And so they care less and less about what they're running and why they're running, what they're running. And it just becomes like a leveraged form of speculation, right? And so I don't really deal with that crowd, right? I try not to because, uh, you look at Rosen, right? Project I would work on. You
That's
want
a
to be
little
a
one,
watcher.
yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be a watcher, you need to run it, right?
Not
You
only
need you need
not only do you need to run it, Joe, but you need to run it. You need to pay attention. You need to make
yeah.
sure that you want to make a profit off it. You want to get all those transactions recorded and get that funding from there. You gotta pay it. You gotta upgrade when the
Gotta,
upgrades come. You gotta
yeah,
make sure it's
you
running.
gotta run it. You look at Lethos, the same thing. It's software. So if you want to use it, you gotta run it, right? And so, if I get a hard time from people that don't really run anything, I don't know what to tell them, right? At that point, everything is just a ticker, a letter, subject to price charts over, a 5, 10, 20 minute time frame. I don't know, a week time frame. Well, if you're trying to build stuff, you're running infrastructure, your mindset's just a lot longer, right? So there's a certain disconnect between this idea of like being a peer in the network or a network anyway, versus just being like a user or investor,
Yep.
right? And it's a different mentality. And I am what I am, right? Uh, so I just ignore it, honestly. I just ignore it, and then like, well, what am I building? I know why I'm building what I'm building, and that makes me happy. Like if you take Lethos, right? It's like, okay, the most interesting property in proof of work is that anyone, anywhere can silently, compute, submit a block, get a reward, right? There's no cap. There's no like our artificial bound set of actors that can build blocks. It's just anyone, anywhere, at any time that, has the energy and hardware.
Yep.
And so you would think that a system like that like in theory, could be, quite efficient in terms of having, as many block producers as possible, right? But you run into this like economic incentive issue where, if you're solo mining, um, you are in essence playing the lottery where you're going to win every once in a while, but you're not going to win a lot,
I mean,
right?
you play the
And
law of averages there, right? I mean, that's how.
yeah, it just depends on the size of the network, right? Every once in a while, there's someone with like a bit axe that, throws out a Bitcoin block. That's pretty cool to see,
Oh, did
honestly.
you see the article about those? Yeah, there were these little they're selling those little things with LED screens, like the lottery miners, right, for Bitcoin.
Mhm.
Come to find out, all it did was play a basic image on the screen, animation, and the rest was just bullshit. Just like selling paperweights for people to plug in and burn a tiny bit of electricity and feel
It's
like,
almost like open source code is important or
yeah,
something. I don't
almost,
know.
Joe, right?
Almost. I don't know. Um, no, I mean, yeah, I think there was even someone that was using like nice hash, renting some hash rate, and decided to play the lottery and hit a Bitcoin block, which is pretty damn cool.
Wow.
Anyway, so what is Lethos designed to do? It's we're trying to put everything on chain so that um, everybody can build their own blocks. Simple as that. And that's something that because you have a huge set of people that they're not peers, they don't run anything, right? What they run is their phone on, CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap and, rotate, hop around, chase whatever the flavor of the day is. Uh, no, I can't handle that mentality. I would be too stressed.
I get it. And I think the separation I have there, Joe, is that's fine. If you want to speculate on tokens and do that kind of thing, that's great. Try to make profit off stuff. Try to make honest profit off stuff. Arbitrage. Use the toolings that we have to do that. But I really get hot and pissy about value extraction. It's like one of those things. If you come into a project and your number one goal is to extract as much value from it as you can for your own pockets instead of building up and being part of it and growing that, that's when you're going to hear from me, and probably not for long because I'm probably not going to talk to you for much longer than that. But
You're
yeah,
nicer than me,
yeah,
man. At the end of the day, you're nicer than me. At the, Whenever I run into that, I just tell people pain is the best teacher.
that is true. That is true.
Right? Pain is going to teach you better than I ever could, right? And whenever, in my life, whenever I have a problem, I run into something and I have to hit my head against the wall to figure it out, it's a powerful, powerful teacher. So there's a lot of people that, it's like in crypto, they've chased, you know, I don't know, whatever, whatever cartoon meme pump fun stuff is out there. They got burned. Pain is a teacher, right?
My hope is too that we can at least show them some resemblance of usefulness and what the blockchain is about. So even if they do get burnt, they can at least say, Ergo had
Well,
something cool. Ergo has something cool. They're actually using it for this. This is what they're doing. Let me just peek into that a little bit. So maybe there's some hope of light there that we're at least projecting into people's eyes when they come by.
I always thought crypto was a lot better when there were a lot more miners because people were actually running things, right? And we've shifted so far away to like, oh, everything is, delegated through someone else, some other service, some other person, some other pool, and you get further and further and further away from like being a peer that for a lot of things, that's just the marketing, right? Because it's like, okay, well, if you have information that's flowing between, the point of like order execution and the user, and you have the ability to see that as it's moving before it gets there, that is information that has value, right? So you do see a lot of VCs actually just doing like more infrastructure plays. Hey, maybe we can create a wallet, um, you know, and okay, well, so they're probably not making money from the fees, I'm gonna assume, right? Um, it is what it is. Like that is why you want to be a peer in these networks is because you have the ability to run your own transactions. You have the ability to run your own software.
Yeah,
Uh,
I always have this fantasy, not fantasy, but I was of this idea of miners as the digital farmers of the world, right? Like you look at, I think I use a comparison of like, I imagine a futuristic miner of a blockchain that sustains their family, perhaps with the transaction fees and the rewards. Like you look at like the kind of futuristic outfits, like it. Where is it? On Tatooine with Star Wars, those half underground houses. They have all this machinery, and they're out with their what were they called? The moisture condenser things that they're doing. So same kind of thing. I feel like what other industry can you literally go out and get consumer goods? And when I say consumer goods, I mean definitely with Ergo, right? Because we're ASIC resistance and you can use consumer level video cards. What other industry can you
Mm.
go out there, build your way up, create something in your own environment here, control it, point it where you want to, do what you want to, run a solo if you want to, and reap the benefits of that, and also contribute to the network. So
I tend
that's
to look at like proof of work from the perspective that it's most optimized whenever there's excess capacity, right? We've already seen that in Bitcoin where you have, I don't know, like flare off gas mining and they'll try to build their miners close to, power infrastructure points and then,
well, Iceland,
load
right?
cycle.
Yeah, yeah, extra
Yeah,
heat.
well,
Yep.
load cycle like the output. I do think that as more people get like, there's going to be a lot of developers out there that are going to have their little GPU rig for AI, right? They're going to have a lot of big AI data centers that have cold capacity, right? I think these things naturally plug in really well to
You,
GPU proof of work
you
mining.
mean you mean when people realize that AI companies aren't making money right now and they're cooking their
Well,
books and it's actually
the
gonna
amount the amount of leverage that they're taking on to scale
yeah,
is fucking wild, right?
crazy.
It really is wild. And then it's like, okay, well, for in the first order, right, you have capacity, right? Where how let's say the popular LLMs, what percentage um are they actually running hot in that data center versus what is like cold storage that is in essence waiting to come online when demand peaks? That's an interesting question. I don't actually know the answer to that across different systems, but then you have kind of the second order effects, which is like this cutthroat competition to always have the best hardware, right? Because that is something that's going to lead to better models, is better hardware. And then it's like, okay, well, realistically, you take, I don't know, the H100, how many years is it going to have before it then, passes on to like a secondary market, secondary life? And at that point, you're, upgrading these facilities and installing new hardware. And at some point, those are going to recycle out and they do trickle down,
No,
right? They do.
and and speaking and in more nuance than that, Joe, it's just like ASIC miners, right? It's in the interest of the people creating these chips to flood at least a small sector of the market for a discounted price. So let's say you flood 1% of the market with a discounted price, right? For these chips. And all of a sudden, these chips are now beating the pants off every other chip out there in the market, right? Because there are older chips out there in the market. Now everybody's going to buy your chips to catch up, and you have that rat race going there too. So it's absolutely corporatist driven in these circumstances. Just
Yeah, and then you have a guy on the mountain that it's like, hey, if I can buy an extra 3060 and plug it into my solar system when I'm running at excess capacity, why not mine a little bit, right? Eventually that'll pay itself off. And
right.
I've already, invested all this stuff in power for my house. So why wouldn't I want to just take that excess capacity that I have and do something with it, right? Actually hope personally, one of these days, um, I've always wanted to like hook the solar up to a little mining rig, heat a greenhouse, then I get food. Like then I'm just like passing on that excess and the different outputs that are beneficial to my reality, right?
You have enough panels to run your whole house, Joe?
It's not a ton of power, but
I mean,
yeah,
you can run a beer fridge and a grill, probably, right? That's enough.
I don't need an electric grill out here, man.
That's true. Just start a fire.
Mhm.
And in the
But no,
winter,
I mean those type of setups I think are the most interesting thing, where it's like, okay, you have the ability to capture heat. You have the ability to capture excess power production. You have the ability to like capture cold computational power with GPU mining, and that's huge because if you look at the actual hardware on the ground that's scaling, right, there's going to be probably more
The way,
dollar values
well,
in
the
GPUs added into our economy than the entire Bitcoin market cap, and
anyways,
people are bullish.
I don't
Our
understand,
people
Joe.
are
I don't understand
uh,
why there's not startup companies going around right now to all these facilities saying, "Look, we can increase your profit margins by 10% if you do these kind of recapture processes with heat, with extra electricity on mining, other things."
it'll
When
come.
it's a lot, I can't believe nobody's tried that yet. There's got to be some sort of
It'll come. I honestly believe that that sort of thing will come. It'll just be the natural when the incentive's there and someone realizes it and chases it. There's a lot to do there, right? Um, you know, is it something that I think about every once in a while? Yeah. I mean, I made an article, I don't know, 6 months ago. Like, here's how you would, to optimize auto Lycos and make a Sigma
right.
chain that's, for clusters, right? Is that something I actively want to chase? Not really, but I always, come back to it when I look at all the hardware that's coming online. And I'm like, wow, this is not running at full capacity. Um, Now there are Bitcoiners that are like, hey, you know what you should do is you should buy ASICs and then plug them in, and then you can mine Bitcoin and also like balance your power for all this other computer equipment that might have another use, right? And I'm just waiting. Um, I think it's better to just focus on Lethos because if that type of mining does come online and you do have that type of solution where all of these different centers and users can potentially build their own block template, produce their own blocks, that would be really cool because it would be more decentralized. Like I do think mining pools have been um, terrible for Nakamoto's consensus in proof of work. Absolute shit, right? I get why they exist. But even on Bitcoin, you have things like Ocean, showing up that are quite interesting projects. Now it's funny that like when I build on Ergo or when I build on Bitcoin with like Ergo stuff, Rosen, we're validating off chain, right? And we're working on the mining stuff on Ergo, we're validating everything from the mining pool on chain. But then you can look at like Ocean is validating everything off chain. Um, you do what you can do. But I do think that like there's a lot of really interesting potential for GPU just because of the net amount of hardware that's going to come online in the next 10 years. It makes no sense to have a data center, right? Yeah, I mean, let's say you own a business, right? And it's like, okay, you've invested all of this money in developing this data center, buying these cards, setting up the power infrastructure, et cetera, and you probably have pretty damn good power prices. If you have any common sense, that's why you placed your,
Mm-hmm.
center where you did, right? And you have a lot of leverage, debt that you've taken on to scale, and you're, basically burning your cards at some floating rate. Like it's not that hard to say, okay, well, can you create some sort of like micro-controlling software that just balances proof of work with demand, right? And then you're always running hot all the time, and you're getting as much value out of your hardware stack as you can. I think that makes sense. It doesn't take a lot of extra like capital expenditure versus Bitcoin mining. And the truth is most of the value of Bitcoin is been captured a long time ago by miners. So I think there might be some interesting things with like supercluster mining and that type of proof of work. And I think if we can break um, the dominance of mining pools, that's where things get interesting. That's where you have a really decentralized global system where you have all of these different actors, potentially building their blocks and submitting it to the chain. So I'm excited.
I mean,
I do hope that.
initially, Autolycos was used for to resist mining pools, right? Initially with Ergo, was that the deal?
Mhm.
You didn't want mining pools.
Well, mining pools are pretty toxic in terms of
Mm.
the security assumptions, right? Bitcoin, it's like three entities that control block
Yeah.
production and like that. That's terrible. But nonetheless, you have all of these individual miners that do have like local custody of their hardware. They are running their
Yeah,
own
but
local power. It's just a matter where they're pointing it.
yeah,
But they don't necessarily understand like um how he who controls order flow like controls everything in markets. And when you have just a basic payment system, it doesn't really matter, right? Like on Bitcoin, it's like, okay, if I send it
true.
to you
Right, right.
and it's mined in this block or
Who
5 blocks
cares?
from now,
Yep,
it's just going from, Alice to Bob, and who really
yep.
cares? But when you start building markets on these systems, right? Where it's like, okay, well, now you have race conditions. Now you have DeFi. Like now you have this like competition on top of um the blocks where you're constantly trying to arbitrage or race for the better price, the better trade. Suddenly, like this ability to control order flow is massive in terms of like the economic power that you're controlling versus just, Alice to Bob who gives a fuck, wait 10 minutes, right? Sit down, go outside, have a cigarette, it'll get their next block, right? Versus, when it's like, hey, you have to pay back your collateral or you're going to get liquidated, right? Then suddenly it's a entirely different ball game.
So now but with Lithos, right? The individual miners are going to have to be more in tune to that and pay more attention
Yeah, and
to
honestly,
stacking blocks and stacking them full of transactions.
yeah, I think there's some really interesting potential, like in terms of building markets, right? Because that's ultimately what you want is to build like free markets on top of these systems. Where it's like, okay, well, can we create channels for like me to submit a transaction to you, the miner, through a mixnet and for privacy? So I never broadcast my IP address,
Hmm.
right? And then pay for a priority fee for you to mine it. Or can we like create these other layers of markets for like priority fees in DeFi, etc., where you're passing on value to the people building blocks, right? I think there's a lot to build on there. You may even have like Demirage potential. Like Storage Rent has come online enough to where it is actually um,
It's
releasing a decent
beneficial.
amount of
Yeah,
Earth.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like I do think you'll see markets develop around that as well.
You think we'll see other chains adopt Dimrush after the fact, Joe?
It's really dirty too,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
that's
Like I
some
like
pretty rough assumptions to throw on a chain.
I'll get on like Twix or X or Twitter or whatever the fuck people are called these days, and I'll talk about Demirage because I do think that it's a really clean solution in terms of like UTXO state management, right? So suddenly you have this like live set of UTXOs that just moves forward in time, right? That's really a beautiful system that Alex came up with. Um, you have supply availability become some things that you can like accurately project forward through time versus supply availability and Bitcoin is, unknown because it's kind of like until you sign your transaction, who knows if you lost your key, right? And then you have something like Solana where they just find a fucking bunch of coins somewhere else and are like, oh yeah, sorry guys, we forgot about that,
Woof.
right?
Yeah.
But
What was
with
a chain that
Demirage,
reminted? Was that the chain that reminted like a massive
I don't
amount?
know. You always have some weird fucking
Yeah.
games in
My
crypto, man.
goodness.
Where it's,
Oh, that was my even
I
Poly guy. No, that was um they have a stadium in LA. It's an exchange out west. Um
have no idea.
I know. Yeah,
I live in the mountains, man. I don't care.
it's closer to you than me, sir.
But no, I honestly think like supply integrity and the ability to predict like the available supply is incredibly important for a monetary system, right? That seems really, really basic. And you do have crazy fucking projects that are like, oh yeah, we're just gonna fork and change the amount. We're just gonna, increase the cap, and then maybe we'll increase the cap again. And you got to ask, like, at that point, do you have a debt ceiling versus a supply cap? Or you randomly find a bunch of coins somewhere else. How the fuck does that work? That seems to not be very sound monetary policy. Let's just say that.
It doesn't
Especially
it
if you
doesn't seem to dissuade some users from still utilizing the product though, Joe.
well, yeah. Listen, man, some people will take the long bet and then they'll just like try to back their money, right? I don't think they actually care. I don't think they're running software. I think they have chips on the table. So at that point, you know, red is better than black, obviously, because their money's on red, right?
Yeah, true, true, true. I
I
think uh,
mean,
I think Luca wants to come join us. Let's see if he's gonna
I'd
bite.
love to see Luca.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see what he says. I accidentally left the old Zoom link at the bottom of the YouTube video, I
Yeah,
think.
send him one. Bring him up here.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what he says. He may have been bluffing. We're calling his bluff. It's okay. I don't want to intrude. Oh, stop, Luca.
Luca was my DJ when we had the Ergo meetup. I don't know if you knew that, but he had like when it was like at the end, he took over the sound system and was blasting tunes for us.
Oh, nice. All right, what am I doing here? In the wrong thing. All right, this is gonna really jack our interface. Uh, so, um, so bear with us, people.
Sure.
I'm gonna set the interface back to just us, the whole window. So hang on one second. Window capture, zoom 2. Okay. Keep talking, Joe. Keep talking.
Well, I'm just here for decentralized money, man. That's it. Peer-to-peer networks with decentralized money, right? Think Napster, where anybody anywhere can connect, right? I think that's the best outcome.
Yep.
And people get opinionated. I mean, bags have their own. It's no different than red or black, right? They put their money on red, and suddenly, if you're not red, you're dead, right? It is what it is
Yeah.
in this space. I there's no escaping it. It's I don't know. It's a weird industry, but if I look at it as money, I think it's really interesting. Um, you know, Ergo is, we have privacy assumptions, but we're not a privacy coin, right? And some people will say, well, that's a terrible idea. But if you ask them, should we audit Fort Knox? Should we understand what the gold supply is? Right? They'll be like, hell, that makes sense. You definitely would want that sort of auditability, especially if you're trying to be commodity backed money,
Mm-hmm.
right? But even that, like, how do we live in a reality where that doesn't just have like 100 live cameras? You know, if anything happens, everybody will know, right? Instead of just, oh yeah, we haven't audited it since the 70s.
I don't know, Joe. It's
Hmm.
I don't know. It's hard. Every time it gets discouraging, especially.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, I know. I think you're good at staying out of that part of it to not let it affect you. But I can. Yeah, I don't know. Luca's coming
I,
in a
I've
sec.
I've said for years on these videos that it's like, listen, I can go to the casino, I can play poker, the drinks are
I
free.
know. I know. The drinks are free, right? Yeah.
The drinks are free, right? I
Ah,
would much rather do that than be
the
like, hey,
drinks
I'm
are
gonna bet on.
free. The ladies are nicer looking in person. I don't. All that mix. All right. Let's see. Here comes Luca. He's gonna jump in hot. Come on,
All right.
Luca. Load, Luca. Load, load, load. He is getting his camera ready. You got to turn your camera on, Luca, so we can see you.
Oh,
Maybe he doesn't want his camera. We'll put it down there. Luca, at least connect to audio, buddy. All right. Well, he figures out his um his mic. Smartest programmer around, and he's having mic trouble right now. Isn't that how it goes, Joe?
listen, they'll say
All right, he's got
that.
it. Luca, can you hear us, Luca? I see his little mic icon. Ah, was Luca in? Did Luca go to India with Kushti? Did he go on that trip?
I don't think so. I think he
No.
just submitted a video.
Okay. Oh, for stability, Nexus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good video. That was a great. That was a. You know, it was fun. I had a lot of FOMO for the Colorado meetup, but but you guys look like you had a lot of fun, and you
Yeah,
did
we had a
you,
good
you
time.
did spend twice the budget you were supposed to, Joe. So you.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Joe's like, how much should I spend on alcohol? I was like, well, I got like $200, $300. He's like, I spent about 450.
Uh, Sorry. People come into my space. I want to take care of them.
Yeah, you got to take care of him, Joe. You got to take care of him. All right, Luca can't hear us, and we can't hear him, so he's leaving and coming back. That's fine. We'll be here, Luca, for you.
No,
No problem.
afterwards, after we went to Garden of the Gods, I took Luca.
Did you do a nice
I
little
mean, that's,
sunset walk, holding hands, kind of thing,
no, it
Joe?
was like dark.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, it was fun. Anyway, nice spot.
Nice, very nice. Does it like darker? The sunset was gone, kind of thing. It still looks nice. Oh, the sky's got to look gorgeous out there by then, right?
Yeah, it was
And
beautiful.
this guy, yeah, yeah. Oh damn. All right, let's try
Yeah, I
this
can go
again,
there
Luca.
whenever I want, but
We're
for
trying it
them, they were
again.
excited.
Is he here? Luca, can you hear us yet? Maybe this is Luca just trolling us, Joe. Maybe Luca's like, I'm gonna mess with them and make him look silly. We'll keep going. All right, what else? What else is there, Joe, going on in this world? You know what I've been so this has been this has been bugging me lately too, Joe. I
Hmm.
have I've always had a very strong dislike for the standard corporatist NBA type, right? It's just always rubbed me the wrong way. Again,
Sweater vest,
value extraction. You know, their main goal in life is to come in and suck as much money out of everything as possible.
make everything cheaper, shittier, and make some money, and then fucking leave.
Fucking hate it, right? They got their golden parachute, doesn't matter. They made
Yeah.
their money, just move to the next thing. You know, we see that everywhere in life. We see that with the you know, you're oh, there was an
I'm
amazing
listen. I
yeah.
understand. I'm literally waiting to get on an airplane, and they charge you to take a shit. Right? That's like the peak NBA.
It's like they sit around and they think, how can we make people's lives miserable enough, so just miserable enough so that they want to pay a little extra. It's
Hmm.
fucking crazy. That stuff really pisses me off. Like, I absolutely can't stand it. So I've been in a kick lately. So for those of you that don't know, I program in one of the oldest languages known to man,
You're Pearl.
Perl, man. Yeah. So I program in Perl. There's Luca. Luca, can you hear us?
Cheers, buddy.
Oh yeah, yeah, it works now.
Luca, what's up, buddy?
Just drinking water.
How you doing, buddy? Water, that's fine. We are all inclusive here. We're drinking water too. Well, Joe's drinking apple juice. I'm drinking water, of course. All right, let me finish my rant. so, so I build in Perl, and that also means that Claude, ChatGPT are absolutely amazing at Perl. They are extremely good at programming in Perl. And
Mhm.
the amazing thing about Perl is that you can write it to print HTML, you can write it to print JavaScript. You can pretty much get away with almost not quite as sleek and amazing as some of these apps out there that are slow and sluggish, but like we're talking about, I made a whole printing pickup system and backend system that I showed on the AMA the other day. And like the script is like a couple thousand lines of code. It's 46 kilobytes. It's like loads like this. You know what I mean? So I've been doing a lot of that. And whenever somebody comes to me, you know, at Cornell, we had a lot of money taken from us from the federal government, right? Or held back, I should say. And then there was a deal reached where we kind of got some of it back. The story's online. You can read it. But we've been in a mode of money saving recently, and it adds up. So if you think there's, you know, we have 6 departments in my college alone, 5 departments in my college alone. So if you think there's a couple people in every one of those that are using something like Doodle Poll or those kind of things where it's like, you know, $20-30 a month for the pro version that you need because the free version just gives you enough stuff to be useful, and you just need that one extra feature, but it's going to cost you the 10, 15, 20
Are you
bucks a
rate
month.
limited out? We're
Yeah,
gonna
you
do the
got it.
upgrade
You
to our
got it.
premium
Yeah.
subscription.
So those things have been pissing me off royally. So you know what I do? Anything that's like I think I can do it, I do it. So I've made about 4 or 5, maybe 6 duplicate apps of these. I've made a polling, like an iClicker polling app. I've made a attendance app. I've made a doodle poll app, a full-on scheduling. It's even better than that. So I've made a handful, maybe even a dozen. I lost count. I have a huge page of these things that are geared at being like, fuck you to these applications that just feel like you can write something and be a billionaire and just, nickel and dime everybody. So that leads into my frustration in the blockchain industry with value extraction. I guess that's where my stories connect, but it's just so damn frustrating. So yeah, Luca, welcome, the amazing Luca. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm okay.
You're okay.
Okay, what's it, buddy?
I heard you presented a video. You sent a video
Sorry?
to the hackathon that Kushti was at in India, no? Or the presentation there?
No, that was the hackathon, and then there was a workshop on the Monday, like a academic workshop
What was your video
with
about,
stability.
Luca?
So I presented live on the Google Meet. It was so I did one presentation for Dexy, and then another one for the gluon proofs or theorems, and then another one for the theorems in the orb staking protocol
The orb
in
Yeah, I've
Bruno.
heard.
orb
I've
staking?
yeah, the
Yeah,
Oracle
Oh, Oracle. Okay.
protocol. I've heard
yeah.
rumors that there's copies of this on somebody's computer or phone, but I haven't seen anything.
What do you mean?
The
Like,
video, Luca.
I've heard either Bruno or Alex has like what was recording
uh,
it
yeah,
in
yeah,
some.
yeah. Like I think when I was on the Google Meet, I could see them, and I think Bruno was like recording with his phone.
Yeah, so it's on Bruno's phone.
Like he
Well,
was
I
Looking
could share
pretty
the
he was
crazy.
Dexy
just recording it
slides in
like
the
that.
chat.
Oh,
I might, I
Bruno.
might, I might share the Dexy slides in the Telegram channel for
That'd
use
be
later.
awesome.
Oh, if you guys want to preview, right? You've got a really nice presentation from the Ergo Summit. People can get their chops wet with it before they dive into your Bruno video.
Were you doing any judging on that hackathon that they did?
Oh,
No, no,
Luca's very
I
judgy,
wasn't
Joe.
there.
You
I
weren't there.
wasn't in. I was in India for 2 days. It's a long
Just
story,
2 days?
but
No, we
yeah.
got lots of time. Luca, tell us what were you doing in India?
Well, I was gonna go. I was supposed to be in India for like 2 weeks to go to this hackathon, like to not participate, but like help out, and
Hmm.
then be in the workshop in person. But I kind of had a bad jet lag and culture shock, and so
Are you
You
talking
got
about you drank the hotel water and you shit yourself for 2 days?
no.
Puked.
But I thought I was getting scammed
Oh, no
by a
way.
travel
Oh,
agency.
come on. Fill us in. Come
oh,
on. We got time. Come on, Luca.
terrible.
Tell us.
So I was supposed to meet up with Bruno at the National Museum in New Delhi.
Hmm.
And so I took the metro. Uh, there's poverty everywhere, but
That's rough, yeah.
but what's surprising is that if you see like a homeless person in like a city in like North America, it's odd, or like you feel like pain, or you feel bad for the person.
Luca, you're
But
from Canada, aren't you?
yes,
They have homeless people in Canada?
in Montreal, yeah, in the subway, especially in winter because it's warm.
Yeah,
But
Denver's a little bit downhill around here. I went to eat Denver and I went out and some dude was stealing my windshield wiper and I chased him down.
Why do you need your windshield wiper? Yeah, somebody. All right, sorry, Luca, keep going. So homeless people in America, you feel
but
bad for them, you want to help them, but in India, you're not supposed to, or is that the idea you're
well,
saying?
because the poverty is like kind of like everywhere, so it's like normal, which is the weird. That's like the weird thing. You're there and it's like, oh, it's actually just like normal, every part of everyday life.
Hmm.
Uh, which is like,
I don't know if I
yes.
could do that. I don't know if I could go there.
No,
That's rough. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it is.
My
So,
empathy things are through the charts, and that those cases, I feel so terrible. Sorry, go on, Luca.
and yeah, so I either go, I get to the metro station and it brings me, I take like 3 rides. It brings me to the train station and I get kind of lost. And this tuk-tuk driver, he like talks to me. He's like, "Oh, you're lost. Let me bring you to this government tourism info center. They'll
Oh
help you
no.
find your way to the National Museum." So I was like, "Okay, whatever. I'll go in the tuk-tuk." And that was a
30 miles
fun
out of
ride.
town.
No, they brought me to the place, and it's called like tourism center, but it's not a government agency
It's spelled with a
office.
Z.
It's a
Tourism.
travel agency. And yeah, the guy, I got like pressured into buying something, and
No,
yeah.
Luca. Was it a lot? Did you lose a lot?
Uh, well, might get a 50% refund, so we'll
Okay.
see.
All right. Wait, is it the 50%? Is it like crypto where you have to give 10% to get the 50% back?
No,
Okay, good. I'm sorry, Luca. Luca
no,
got
you have to
real
give
life rugged.
100%, then you might get
There
50%
you
back.
go.
Oof.
So, so you never made it to Bruno at the museum ever.
No, I met him. No, then I then I got into the a driver's car, and the guy brought me to the National Museum. So I did meet up with Bruno, which was cool.
But
But
then
I
he
never
probably
got
had to
to.
buy
I
you
could have
lunch
meet.
and
I could
dinner
have.
after that.
No, but yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to meet Kushti in person, which would have been nice.
I'm so
But,
sorry, Luca. It's okay that we're laughing at
but
this
yeah,
after the fact, right?
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Like, so I basically like I freaked out and I got upset, and so I left.
I'm sorry, dude. That's rough. That's rough.
What it is.
Would you ever try it again? Would you ever go to India again?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's actually
Mhm.
like
It's
in
beautiful,
hindsight, it's
right?
actually like
Yeah,
not so bad.
yeah.
Well, New Delhi is really bad pollution. Like when I came back,
Like,
my shorts still stank of the pollution. That's how bad it was.
air pollution.
Yes, yes. It's like
Wow,
worse than China.
worse.
If you
Wow.
there's like I forget the site. I think it's Air QI or something or Air IQ, and it's like a leaderboard of all the cities and their pollution levels. And New Delhi's like up 5.
We should make an oracle out of that and do a stable coin based on New Delhi pollution, air pollution. Joe, get on that.
Well, I don't know if it's like
It's terrible. Shut up,
We've
you
had,
guys.
stable.
we've had too much water. I can't believe you, Luca.
How's Suarez going, Luca?
Well,
I know that MG's finally almost out of his
He's almost done. You think he can release our app, Luca?
oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, you chose
Uh,
a wrong time to come onto this chat, Luca.
I've got a question for you, Luca.
sh
In
sure.
2026, what do you do? Should we do the Ergo meetup in Colorado or should we go out to New York?
No, we're going to Ithaca 2026. I got it. We're gonna do a big thing. We're going to we got an auditorium. We're gonna do a conference. We're gonna invite other people. Try to invite the Cornell Blockchain Club. But yeah, sorry, Luca. What's your opinion of that?
I mean, it's cool. Like if you like, I mean, it's cool if it's in
It's
different places.
closer to you, isn't it?
Yeah, New York
You could
is.
drive here 6 hours, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't have a car, but it is drivable distance.
Take a rickshaw.
Yeah, you should go to Ithaca just to hit him.
Come beat me up, Luca. Sorry, it's been a tough couple of weeks. This is good to laugh. I'm sorry it's at your expense, Luca. I really appreciate it, though.
Well,
What are you
so
working on these days, Luca?
Yeah, what are you working on, buddy?
I'm trying to launch Glue on Dollar,
What's
Oh
that?
yeah.
but
Tell us.
there, well, there's like things I have to update in the contract, but I'm sort of like, uh, I haven't gotten around to it yet. And I did like an AI audit
hmm
with Rob from Lithos.
hmm
Like I sent him the contract and he like put it into the AI and then he sent me back the output like text of what it suggested, and it found one thing that I think I missed or like, but yeah. So I asked Keith from Ergoland, if I don't know if you
Hmm.
remember him,
Yeah.
or
Oh
Dico,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. He's like, I showed him like, is this a mistake? He's like, maybe, probably. So yeah, related to Oracle fees. Yeah, so I might have to. So it's like I'm not just as simple as like changing the contract because I'm using his Scala backend code, which was set up. He set it up to like so you can like launch a new inst the contract again, but like and you can change the like what it's pegged to and so on. But, um, so I might have to also change like the backend code in that application.
Yeah. I'm
What?
still waiting for the silver oracle that we had put together.
Oh yeah,
I'm
that would
curious.
be cool too.
Yeah.
I'm curious how I want to see Gluon and Dexy live in the wild and just see how they see what kind of data they print, and that'll give me a good idea in terms of like a silver backed coin. And I don't know. I hope at some point maybe we can even merge with like Silver Sense. I have the same jacket from the Ergo meetup. Grayman gave me a little silver dime that
Oh, right.
was
He gave
Oh
you a
yes.
dime. He gave you a dime bag, right? Did he bring
yeah,
dime
yeah,
bags for everybody?
it says dime bag on it, right? And
That's
I have like
amazing.
I have like a breast pocket on my jacket, and I was in the restaurant the other day. I pull it out and I'm like, what? Put it on the table and it says dime bag. And the waitress is looking at it.
It's Colorado. It's Colorado. That's normal. Lots of dime bags
Yeah,
around.
I guess. But no, I'm really curious to see how Gluon evolves. I really think that will be interesting to watch. I know there's a couple of different instances now that have been put together. Um, but that's
Uh
some
So are you?
yeah, like
Sorry. Go on. Go on.
yeah, with Gluon Gold, we wanted to update the oh yeah, I'm confused myself. I'm also supposed to update Gluon Gold. Uh because
You doing?
we wanted to change the reserve ratio so
Mhm,
it's closer to one.
mhm,
Like one is it 1.01? Uh because we noticed that it would deep peg too fast when people would like use the protocol.
mhm,
And then also change the one of the equations because when I was working on proving the theorems, well, I mentioned this at the talk in Colorado, but basically like uh stuff doesn't work out properly because when you depeg, it makes the reserve ratio constant.
mhm,
But it has to be like it should actually be like a equation of a line that so it's always decreasing until it reaches one or well, the inverse of the reservation should be one when, or the normalized reserve ratio when R is zero. Anyway, it's, I don't want to get too technical here, but
You ever
You
see?
yeah,
should.
Yeah. Yeah. Hit it.
yeah. So okay, so if you look at the Gluon paper, it says like you just see an equation called Q or called the fusion ratio equals the minimum of two values. You have Q star, and then this number, this fraction, that's uh the Oracle price times the circulating supply of
Mhm,
the stablecoin divided by the reserve amount. So the fusion ratio, this Q number, is like the minimum of these two values. This Q star, which is like a protocol, a fixed parameter. And you can think of the Q as just like the inverse of the reserve ratio. Uh, right. So the reserve ratio is defined as your reserve divided by your liabilities. So if the reserve amount is R, right? So the amount of ergs in the bank,
mhm,
the reserve ratio is R divided by your liabilities, which is like the price of the stablecoin times the circulating supply, because those units will like cancel out and you'll get like erg divided by erg, so it's like a unitless constant. Uh, but the problem is that so that just like you can think of it like your raw reserve ratio value that you're computing. It's just like some raw number that's between like zero and infinity, right?
Mhm.
But then the value, the number that's actually used by the protocol in the equations to compute like how many stablecoins you get when you want to mint some, or like when you want to convert between stable coins and reserve coins, it computes like a auxiliary value called the normalized reserve ratio, which is the number that's a function of this raw reserve ratio. Okay, so this normalized reserve ratio, uh, that's like the inverse of that. Okay, that's the normalized fusion ratio, and that's like this Q parameter in the paper, which is like equal to the minimum of Q star and the raw inverse of the raw Q. Okay, so the raw inverse of the inverse of the raw reserve ratio. And so when it depegs, then the fusion ratio uh means it becomes less than Q star. Or sorry, it above Q star. So because it's like inverse, everything's like flipped. Um, so when the reserve ratio it becomes too small, that means the inverse, right? Q becomes big. So when Q becomes uh when the raw fusion ratio becomes bigger than Q star, you're depegged. Okay, and so the minimum will be Q star. But it's always going to be Q star when you're depegged, and this causes a bunch of problems. So you actually want it to be so that if you're not thinking of instead of the fusion ratio but the reserve ratio, when it depegs, instead of it being like a straight line, it like goes down. It always decreases. And so when it's at zero, then the normalized reserve ratio is one, and then this will like fix the problems. And what that means is uh when the reserve ratio is zero, then the price of protons of reserve coins will be zero. Yeah. Anyway, it's
Yeah.
like it's like it's actually like simple math, like so a high school student could understand the math, but
Mhm.
it's just like when you tie it with the concepts, that's what makes it a bit confusing.
So so this is a concept that Bruno came up with, and then you conceptualized with mathematics, or he conceptualized the mathematics and you implemented the code.
So what was actually cool is like he's he's been thinking about stablecoins for a long time. So it's based on so Jet, even if you go all the way back, it's like started off from uh, a paper on it from Ethereum called Coin. And I remember reading it and it was confusing because I got used to the notation that Bruno came up with for Jed and Gluon. It's much more intuitive. So he like studied that Coin paper and then like improved upon the concepts. And then that was like what that's how Jed came about. And then now Gluon is like an improved version of Jed. So yeah, he had the ideas of the papers and then like the theorems, and then I just had to prove the theorems.
And
Some were like similar to Jed,
Jed's on
but
Cardano's, right? Only Cardano right now.
no, I meant Jed as in like the paper,
Oh, the
the
paper
idea.
Jed. Okay, who implemented Jed on Cardano? Was that somebody?
Coty.
Coti.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not. They did a weird job.
Yeah. They did it. Yeah, they
Can
did.
you extrapolate
No,
on that
no,
weird
I don't
job,
want. I don't
folks?
want to step. I don't want to step in that pile.
Come on,
I
Joe.
think there's an article. I think there's an article about it from the. Maybe I could find it.
Anyway, to be honest, I think if you're going to build JED on a proof of stake network, you need a liquid staking derivative to make sure that like you can force protocol returns into the treasury, and then you have natural growth. Like it doesn't make any sense to build it with like the native coin. You should create a derivative of that coin, and then use whatever staking you have from the base of that derivative to increase the supply of the treasury, and then it grows. I've never understood that, but that's my own like outside scratching my head, looking, saying, "What the fuck are they doing over there?" Which I do that all the time in life, and sometimes it's their issue, sometimes I'm just an idiot, right? That's the beauty of learning.
So you would mint shed using the
You
like
need like
liquid,
if
the tokenized data.
yeah, like if you could create a derivative, right? I'm not even I'm proof of work, but anyway, in proof of stake, if you create a derivative, you could
Shit.
create a treasury of that coin,
It's like
right? And then direct the inflation into the treasury of that stable coin, and it would naturally grow, right? And that makes it a lot easier to stabilize things when you have like natural like capturing emissions, right? Because like a proof of work asset is hard, right? Like gold,
well, like
if you sit it somewhere, it doesn't grow more gold. And if you put it somewhere else, it doesn't grow more gold. But proof of stake is set up to where if you know, in essence, put your stake to work, you get more of the coin, right? So if you have that natural, like nominal inflation, why wouldn't you put that into the treasury of a stable coin? I
Joe,
don't understand.
all I hear is
What?
you. All I hear is you're promoting proof of stake, Joe. That's wow.
Well,
That's new.
wait, but so okay, I was confused because if the so I understand like you the ADA, so I lock up ADA, I create
mhm.
this like
Yeah,
tokenized
glue
ADA
on
kind of
ADA,
like
right? You create glue on ADA, you lock it 1 to 1, but you stake the underlying ADA, right? The underlying
okay,
ADA,
okay.
the underlying ADA
Mm.
grows, and then what you do is you mint glue on ADA into the treasury of the stable coin, and naturally your treasury is absorbing inflation as your monetary policy is inflating, right? You can't do that with proof of work because proof of work is more like a commodity where if you take a barrel of oil and you put it in one place, it doesn't create more oil, right? Put it in another place, it doesn't create more oil. But proof of stake is very different because you have the ability to absorb inflation. So why wouldn't you direct that? Why wouldn't you create a mechanism to direct that into the treasury of the coin to either offset the volatility peg, which then makes it more like uh incentivize for people to take the volatility position or use it to create more stables. Like you have a certain um like monetary hack there. Like I'm personally not I'm from Ergo, right? We're proof of work. Because a barrel of oil doesn't naturally create more oil, but in proof of stake, it's more like share dilution, where you can absorb nominal inflation and then put that to work. I've never understood it, but that's my own
Where's the ADA growing from in this circumstance? In this scenario?
just protocol inflation,
Oh,
right?
wow, wow. Okay.
Right? Yeah, because you can like capture like inflation and emission. Why not direct that into the treasury? I've never understood that. I've always scratched
Yeah,
my head. You have a certain power there that you just can't create with a commodity based asset. And proof of stake isn't a commodity based asset anyway, but I don't know. Anyway, sorry to derail the conversation. That's
yeah,
been
because
something
in
I've been wandering, watching for some time.
Hmm.
because in Cardano you can like you delegate ADA in a contract to a stake pool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And
it's
and,
actually pretty
and
cool. It's
in
like,
theory, if you were to like create a stable coin on Cardano and you were to do that, it would be really cool to um use that to what is that guy's name? Peyton, I believe. Like Big Pay. He created something to like split stake. If you were to create a like liquid staking derivative that also could like split the stake to underlying small pools, that would be really good for the Nakamoto consensus on Cardano. But that's my own like maybe a good idea, maybe a hallucination. Say,
I got a question, guys. We got a question from the audience. People
oh
actually
no.
watching this at 2 in the morning,
Uh,
my time. Luca, are you on my time zone, Luca? Are you on Eastern time zone?
Eastern, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. What are you doing up so late, Luca? Do you sleep?
yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
Oh,
I was
nice.
watching All In,
All
Luca's
in?
PoW.
What
All
is.
In podcast.
Oh, gotcha. All right, here's a question. Ready? Uh, if Ergo is successful in 3 years from now, what will people be using it for on a daily basis?
Well, right now, if you look at what separates Ergo from most other cryptocurrencies, is these derivatives that we've created, right? So there's been a lot of work that's been put into censorship resistant DeFi versus just creating censorship enabled DeFi, which is not really then DeFi because you have an underlying party that can essentially reverse or freeze or seize everybody's assets. So if you look at the total value that's locked on Ergo in DeFi and how much of it is based on censorship resistant protocols, it's basically everything. Versus if you look at most other systems, it's like, oh, well, what we've done is we've created a contract that allows somebody to potentially rug and freeze everybody's assets. And if you actually look, and I would recommend everybody that's watching this do this, if you look at USDT, right, the total frozen amount relative to the cap of the supply is like 1.8%. So that means that like historically, 1.8% of the value of their total supply has been
Wow.
frozen, which is fucking insane
Yep.
for a currency, right? That means you almost have a 2% chance of just your money disappearing. Like okay, well, like if you were to look at that as a bank, like okay, there's a 1.8% chance, something happens and your money's gone. Some shitty fucking odds.
Wow.
Good luck.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
sorry, go for it. Luca, what do you say to this? To Ergo 3 years, what are you using it for? What's it going to be used for?
Uh, well, like I would like to use crypto. I would like to get to a point where like cryptocurrency is normalized in general in like society in general. To like just pay for things on a regular basis. That would be really cool.
I think
So
there's a
I don't know if that's gonna happen in 3 years necessarily,
I
but
don't think it'll happen in 3 years, but I think
yeah.
there's a demand for it. Like, what does the gig economy represent? It represents like people trying to grind to create some value to live their life well,
I mean, the bottom line is
right?
we've lost cash, guys. We're losing the ability to use cash. We're losing the
Yeah.
ability to privately pay somebody um, without any oversight. It's gone. It's essentially gone, right? You go to the bank
Yeah.
and you ask for more than a couple grand. A, they ask you why, and B, they may say we don't have that much money on us right now. I went to the it's transfer back when I was sending money to Peru for my wedding. Trying to get out 9-10 grand. They're like, nah, sorry, you can't get it out. We don't have enough here. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, I
No,
hopefully people get sick enough about that, but I don't know.
I think they will. Honestly, I think that the best marketing historically, the best marketing for crypto has always been government overreach, right? So if you're
It's
old
it's for
enough,
your protection, Joe.
I
It's
I, I
for
don't
your
think Luca
protection.
is old enough, but QX is definitely old enough. I don't know
Wait,
if
how
he's
old are
paying
you,
it.
Luca? Are you 27? How old are you?
I'm 29.
Wow.
Do you remember the Cyprus bank crisis that they went through?
What year? 97, 90 something?
No, that was about 2012, 2013, I
Oh,
believe.
the recent one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Where they suddenly, like absorbed like depositors' money above a certain amount.
I was in
It's
like grade
so,
10. I was not aware of that.
yeah, don't worry about it. You're too young. But QX is
I'm
yeah,
I'm
he
sure I
was
had my head up my ass or under a rock somewhere,
yeah,
Joe.
that
So
that
yeah.
that was the point where Bitcoin really started to take off, right? You can't create that kind of marketing where all of a sudden everyone's looking at a system and saying, "What the fuck is going on?" Like like that's outside of the parameters of the rules that I thought I agreed to, right?
People have no
Um,
Well,
fucking idea
actually,
what they agreed to, but yeah.
even just yesterday, like or today, like the European Union just like 90 billion euros to fund the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Well, like none of them are like elected or whatever, whoever decided or something like. So,
Well, because the Canadian trucker thing was another good example, right?
oh yeah, yeah,
During
yeah.
COVID, where they're like, "Hey, suddenly we're just gonna, limit your ability to access your bank account."
Right, right.
That's when the normal people wake up and they're like, "What the fuck is the user agreement that I just signed up to?" Because most people, when they download software, all they do is scroll, 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 agree, right? They just try to pass on to like the next instance in the UI in the system. They don't
Mm-hmm.
give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But when suddenly like reality wakes them up where they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is happening?" Then suddenly like the idea of privacy and censorship resistant and all of that become interesting. We can't create that. Like we can't fake that as an industry, in my opinion. It'll always come from the outside. It'll always be like a bunch of normal people are like, wait a second, what user agreement did I just click I consent to? And why the fuck is that like part of the system that I'm in? And the more that systems overreach, I think more people will wake up and say, wow, cryptocurrency is potentially powerful because like you do have stronger assumptions as a peer rather than just a user that has to click a box in order to get to the next screen. That's where we win. Like that, I don't think it'll ever take over the world. I think it'll just be a counter economy. But if you have 5%, 3%, 2% that actively use that, it's powerful.
I think it can be sold also as or looked at as a hedge, right? And I don't mean hedge as in, let's make a lot of money off this kind of thing. A hedge as even a 1-to-1 ratio, right? What other system, even cash, right? Let's say I have 30 grand, all right? What other system can I put this into and know by memorization wherever I go, I have access to this? If I have to get the fuck out of Dodge, if I have to go somewhere, if something crashes somewhere, where else can I bring this with me inside my head and still be able to execute systems of trade with other people at some point in time? That doesn't exist anywhere, right? This is it.
Yeah, it is kind of magic.
Yeah.
I will say that a lot of the time, over the years, when I've talked to like Alex, I will have calls every once in a while, talk about what we're working on, what we're thinking about. Is this idea of a neutral settlement, right? So I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but in terms of what Luca was talking about with like this Ukraine, Russia, NATO fucking drama that I was born into it, right? Like that all started before I arrived on this rock, and I'm pretty sure both of you as well. Um, the idea that, suddenly countries are going to like take other countries' central bank reserves, that's pretty fucking crazy. Because I can see like within a system, you can have a lot of control parameters like reversibility, freezability, right? That makes sense in terms of like a higher level controlling a lower level, basically, as in a very simple like hierarchy term. But when you're talking about how does the United States trade with Russia, right? When you create digital money that has freezability and reversibility built into it, who the fuck would want to accept that? Because they're no longer equals. It's like you have a parent-child relationship or a parent-child relationship, right? So why the fuck would anyone want to accept anybody else's money if it's a parent-child relationship? You have to have some form of neutral like medium of exchange where you have parent to parent or peer to peer relationship. And when you have all of these systems that are cropping up that are all parent to child relationship, fuck you, I'm not a child, right? Countries should be saying that to each other. People should be saying that to each other because the bottom line is we need to get past this reality where we just scroll to the end of a user agreement, click agree, and fucking move on because we don't know what type of liability we just inherited. And it's super frustrating to be like, hey, know your assumptions, know your assumptions. But when the assumptions become more complex, you need to be either a fucking lawyer or a software engineer to even understand what the fuck they are. And I think that when we get into this idea of simplistic systems like Bitcoin or Ergo, I think there's a ton of value in that long term because you can't create like a unified reality across different countries without peer-to-peer, parent-to-parent trade. And one interesting thing to look at, like on the market side, is since since that happened with Russia, a lot of the bonds have been shifting much more towards the short term, right? Which means like if you were to freeze US bonds, at least it's on a shorter duration versus long term. Now, obviously, we have fuck knows how much debt today, but I do think those neutral assets are absolutely critical because with gold, there's always been like a human assumption. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't care what you believe, but I'll take your gold, right? That's always been a like a neutral thing that kind of balances human trade is this idea of common money. And when you have parent-child money, it's fucked. And so personally, I worry about like this idea of parent-child DeFi and parent-child money, but nobody really cares
No, no, no.
because
I mean, that's the
if
popular
you're
thing.
not betting on red, you're dead, right?
Look at all these parent-child relationships with how these corporation run stable coins are going to be, right?
Oh, even software, man. Like, why the fuck do I need to pay a like subscription to run some fucking software?
Oh,
That's something
Joe, don't get
I'm
me
old
started.
enough
We
that
just talked for a
I
half hour
remember
about this.
I remember when you could have a fucking floppy disk or a CD.
You know, it's actually
Money, 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 money. Make
with
more money.
I had my first like mobile phone was the Google Nexus 5, and at the time you could upload Google Play Music. So I had my digital music that I ripped off CDs, and I uploaded it
There you go,
on Google
buddy,
Play
right there.
Music. Yeah,
Nexus
yeah, yeah.
5.
And then like a few years later, they like turned it into YouTube Music, and now you couldn't, and then you couldn't like buy music anymore
Bro,
and download it.
I'm old enough. You could get like the old school what was it? The iPod and fucking Napster. Load yourself up and good to go. Pirates Bay. Yeah,
Nice.
Yep,
sadly. Like
crazy.
that's a different era because everything was custodial, right? Once it was yours, it was yours.
No, and people give up the fact with these tasty little treats of having access to any bit of music you want to. You look at, if I think of myself now with my Spotify subscription compared to when I was a kid and I was using Napster and LimeWire, and using LimeWire to download LimeWire Pro kind of thing, or however that what's that the combo that you use it for? But I swear I listened to way more music back then than I do now with my unlimited subscription to everything. Absolutely crazy.
I think they train people from a
Yeah,
young
they
age.
flood you with these illusions of ultimate access to everything for a high price, and it doesn't mean much at that point. So somebody let me see, Matahara Ahmadi. I think it's seeing the big picture that we're talking about. I think we need to get a little more nuanced with him. He says, so in simple terms, we'll use Ergo 3 years from now to protect our money. Is that all crypto is good in general? Well, we need some
Yes,
special
that's what
usage
it's
for
here
marketing.
for. It's
But
peer-to-peer money.
Joe, it's more nuanced than that for these kind of guys. For if somebody's looking for a marketing thing, so that kind of stuff boils down to, yes, protect your money, protect your choice, protect your ability to sustain some sort of self-reliance and self-custody, right? And that boils down to things like, if you guys watched the AMA yesterday, or was it a community chat yesterday? I can't remember. It was a whole day ago. I forgot already. I spoke about what we're doing with it at my school, right? We're creating these systems in place that give power back into the students' hands of what they want to do with things and how they want to steer funding and how they want to utilize that and reward them with those kind of things, right? If we go away, if they take it away, they can still run it. They still have the tokens. They still have the blockchain. They can still do whatever they want with it, right? So we're trying
There's
to,
different assumptions too. I think that's really important.
yeah,
Like if I go to my bank right? And I'm like, hey, what is your like liability to asset ratio right this moment?
Oh,
They won't fucking tell me.
nope.
I can't see inside their system. And yet, like, if I think about how weird this is on some level, like, I understand the credit side because you do have a parent-child relationship in terms of credit, right? But if you look at me as somebody that has an asset that's going to essentially give custody of my asset to somebody else, and the system is like, no, you can't see inside of it. You like I suddenly have to go in there like, well, who the fuck are you and where did you get that asset? Where did you get that money? How did you earn that money? Have you paid your taxes? Are you up to date? Right? But I'm the one with the asset in that relationship, right? And yet I can't ask them like, hey, I'm the guy with $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or add as many zeros as you want. I'm the person with the asset, and you're the person with the potential liabilities. Can I see them? And the answer is no. Right? I guarantee if I tried to open a bank account and I went up to the local credit union and I said, "Hey, how's your loan portfolio doing and how are your assets distributed and can I see that?" Right? Because I have an asset and you have potential liabilities and you operate on a fractional reserve. Like, can I understand my risk in terms of handing my asset to you? They would probably kick me out of the bank.
Joe, it's okay. They're insured.
Yeah, they're insured. But
We're fucked, Joe.
no, but it is weird to live in a reality where the person I understand on the credit side, right? Because credit is kind of a parent-child relationship. But on the asset side, like if you're going to store your money in a bank, why wouldn't you be able to understand their liabilities, their book, where however their the asset or portfolio is distributed? You can't see that. You can't see that in real time, even though, like, technically, we all know it's not that hard. If every user has a electronic account that gives their balances and whether they're up to date and how much surplus they have in their account, you could easily aggregate that and kind of understand the health and vitality of any institution, right? Because all of these are already digital. You're just not scraping all of the data and throwing out some endpoint. It's not like that's impossible. They just don't fucking give you it. And so it's crazy to think we live in a world where if you have an asset, you're like in a relationship where someone's like, hey, I'm your parent and you're my child. Like, no, fuck you. I have the asset. Right. Like that's a
It's crazy.
weird
Yeah, it's crazy how they've turned the asset holders into the product still, right? It's
that
like
that's a weird thing that
fucking
I have the
crazy.
asset and I'm supposed to be the child.
Yeah.
I don't understand that very well, but I'm also on my own wavelength, let's say.
Hmm.
Maybe that makes sense to some people. To me, I look at it and I'm like, what the fuck? Like the power balance there doesn't make sense. I understand in terms of credit, if I'm loaning someone money, do you have the ability to pay me back or what's your history or are you good for it? That parent-child makes sense there. But if I'm coming to the table with an asset,
Yeah.
to treat me as a child is just disrespect.
We can
I
only
don't know if
hope.
that makes sense, but it
It
makes
does,
sense in
Joe.
my head.
No, it does.
That makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
No, that's where we are. I don't think people even ask these questions because these systems have been
Yeah,
like around long enough that we're just born into them and we accept them as normal. But
right.
uh, I,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna say like it's for normie people don't even think about that. Like if I try to explain this to my parents and they were like they never thought of that.
I think
They're
a
like
big change will come. Sorry, go for it, Luca.
yeah,
to
because
me,
like I guess
I look at that and I'm like, like what planet am I on that's normal? That I shouldn't be your child. I have the asset. You don't.
What do you
You have
guys
potential liabilities.
do you guys think there's going to be a big competitive push, right? What if we at some point tokenizing titles and tokenizing collateral, real world collateral turns legit on chain? I think that could be a huge turning
I,
point because now you have
I've
pooled
al-
lending, you have tokenized assets that are collateral, and you can compete with the banks on interest rates and blow them out of the fucking water.
I always think we need to go back in time. Honestly, like at some point the system forked and it kind of created worse assumptions for all of us. So we need to roll back to like, okay, I do think that to some degree, like gold, silver, metals, they make a lot of sense as peer-to-peer money. That's what they have been for most of human civilization, right? Like if you look at the history of money, okay, beads, iron bars, whatever, the Greeks were doing, but gold, silver, they do make a lot of sense. And that's why personally I've always been like, hey, why do we have fiat stable coins? Because fiat is just subject to, Federal Reserve and their interest rates and the bank's ability to create credit in the economy. And like there's no, I don't know, it's kind of like their own little playground, right? Versus they can't print gold or silver. They can't print hard assets, right? Okay, somebody can be like, well, there's meteorites in the universe that, um, you know, potentially could have all kinds of silver and devalue it, da 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 da. It's like, fuck you, you've never even left your state. Like, we're not there yet, right? Maybe we'll be there in the future, but I do think in terms of peer-to-peer exchange, hard assets make a lot of sense. And so for me, I've always been like, why did I create a silver like Oracle? Because gold is generally too expensive for most average people to afford any meaningful unit of it, right? Silver is more like the common man's money. And that's already something that's historically has been traded among humans for millennia. Where it's like, okay, could you, buy a horse, buy a cow, buy crops, buy food, buy land, buy whatever, trading those type of hard assets peer to peer, yeah. And I do think that if we could create digital stable representations of them, and at least in the United States, you have a ton of people that have stacked silver that are normal people, right? And they all, there's a lot of old people right now that already have like stacked hard assets. It is interesting to see how that rolls over into like the newer, younger digital generation. But I think that's huge in terms of the potential for peer-to-peer goods, services, etc. And if we can create the solid like theorem-based foundation for these type of stable coins, and then create the pathways to have peer-to-peer payments, whether it's physical or digital, and potentially have people, um, acting as some sort of ramp, right, on either side, that could be powerful. But I've never thought that crypto is going to take over like the world. I think Bitcoiners are smoking something special with that. I've always thought it's like, hey, peer to peer will probably be what it's always been, which is some sort of side channel, right? I have people in my reality where based on their skill set and based on mine, we do exchange goods and services and time and energy. Just because, we trust, we interact with each other and we create value for each other, right? And there's a certain assumption that they show up for me, I'll show up for them. And I think if we can like digitize trust and create the right stable form of value, there's a lot of benefit for humanity to create there. So my perspective has never been like, oh, we're gonna like, what is it, tokenize like everything and take over the world. It's more like, let's create a side channel that just benefits people, because there's a lot of people that are delivering food or driving their car or providing some service in like this gig type economy that all they're trying to do is just keep their head above water, right? Because fiat inflation is fucking them.
Well, I mean that's one of the things, right? How do we compete with with collateralized loan in fiat in real life and real objects
How do
on
we
chain?
compete with banks? We create an alternative that's better.
Right, right,
Right.
right. I'm just saying literally collateralization. So people who have assets in real life, how do you realize that on chain, right? So right now somebody who has, let's say somebody, got somebody who might not be well off, maybe got gifted a truck, right? nice $30,000 truck, paid off by their dad who maybe passed. That's all they
I
have
think
in life. How do they, they can go to a bank and get 10 grand out of it, put it on collateral on the truck. How do we convert that to chain? How do we make that possible
hard.
on chain?
It's hard because you have to understand that off chain is still centralized. How do you collateralize a truck? Well, a truck is based on the title of the truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the title of the truck is based on the system that gives the title of the truck and can enforce
DMV. Yeah. Yeah.
can pull you over and fine you if you don't have your title registered within whatever system the truck is in. It's already fucking centralized, right? How do you decentralize that? You don't, because it's already centralized. It will be centralized if it's digital. That doesn't change the fucking system off chain,
True.
right?
True. Yep.
Like versus something like gold, silver, etc. That's not centralized. That's actually peer to peer already. That's been peer to peer forever. And so I think there are certain assets where it's like, yeah, you will have these pseudo decentralized systems where you can take the title of a truck, but the title of the truck is based on the government's ability
You can
to.
still be rugged. Yeah, by the government.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's always going to be because
Yep.
you can't like magically change the system that it's connecting to. It's just a fucking data endpoint. I've never fully understood that in terms of people's thinking. Like what makes the truck is the title, right? If it's on the road, it needs to be tagged, and if it's not tagged, they'll pull you over and fine you and potentially throw you in jail. And if you resist, potentially kill you, right? They have their own system of force to enforce like their own dominance, that parent-child relationship, right? You'll never escape that because it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
You can digitize it, but that's not going to change the parent-child relationship. And if you think that, you're fucking high because it's already parent-child, right? Making it digital isn't any different.
So we may see more, I would say, there's a better opportunity too for people who are using stable, either gold based or gold pegged, right? The two differences. Do you think we'll ever see a gold based token
Yeah.
on Ergo?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see those type of things. And one of the biggest beauties, if you really step back and you look at crypto as a whole, has always been this ability to use jurisdictional arbitrage to keep it alive, right? It's like, oh, Bitcoin mining is illegal in China. And then it just
Mm.
fucking goes somewhere
Right,
else, right?
right, yeah.
And we do have a lot of places in the world where gold is a lot more common as money. India is a good example. Like gold, silver, those type of hard assets, people understand the value of that in terms of peer-to-peer exchange. That's, anywhere that has a dowry, where do they pay it in? Usually like livestock and fucking hard assets. The people understand that
Right, right.
globally, right? That's not going to go away. So even if you do have, the SEC, the CFTC, whatever, letter agency is trying to enforce whatever, system, parent child that you're in, like globally, I don't think gold and silver will go anywhere for a long time. And that's part of why I think they're a lot more valuable than dollars, because the dollar is a control system. Why do we use it? Because if we don't pay our taxes in it, they'll, you know, put us in jail, fine us, and potentially kill us, right? Like they have the ability to escalate force however much they want.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and it is what it is, but uh, those type of hard assets are super unique. So creating uncensorable digital versions of them that are global, right? And anybody anywhere can participate in that system. That's powerful. Do I think that will take over the world? No. I think that'll be a side channel to be free, but that's ultimately what privacy's always been.
Yep. We got an extrapolation on this question. What's Ergo's strategy for attracting non-technical everyday users through simple apps like casual apps or other easy-to-use products that people can interact without blockchain knowledge? So I'll go first. So I mean, there's simple things. When we first introduced the blockchain on campus here, we knew that having people with zero experience setting up Nautilus wallet, and dealing with a seed phrase and going that way was going to be a little too
Oh,
much
yeah.
for them to swallow, right off the bat.
Yeah, how did you do that? How did
So
you
we
manage?
utilized Louis Vautrin's Tipperbot. As simple as that. So real simple back end. All I did was create a front end for students when they interact with our application. They chose an option to play with blockchain, and that essentially knew their login, and it pinged them in our Discord channel with a pre-typed out code on how to tip. So essentially, if the product they were paying for was, 50 tokens, it would then put a thing in the Discord chat for the payment channel that says, so and so, you owe 50 tokens for this. In order for it to be processed, copy this code block, paste it in chat. So that's it. They hit the copy code block button, they paste it in chat, the Tipperbot automatically sends the 50 tokens, and that's it. So students had really kind of a concept that they were using the blockchain, but they had no idea how they were doing it, right? And if they wanted to dig deeper, the instructions were there on how to interact with Tipperbot and that. But we've been doing that for a year now, and we're finally moving up into removing Louis Vautrin's Tipperbot from the entire system. We're going on a full Nautilus system where people can actually use a web browser to pass things back and forth from each other, but then it triggers Nautilus in the system. If you don't have a wallet yet, it essentially makes one for you. The system does, and you can still send through that way. And then you get an email on how to set it up. Even you can take your seed phrase, make a new wallet, transfer your stuff, and program the system with your new address, so you don't have the central entity storing your seed phrase. So there's really simple tools out there that are built that let people at least start tiptoeing into it. But I'm going to correct your question here that you asked. You're asking what Ergo's strategy. Ergo is not. I would say Ergo is no longer a single entity, right, guys? I don't know how long it's not been that way, but it's no longer a single entity where there's one group of people trying to make a decision on what our strategy is as a whole, right? There's pockets and organizations there's a developer DAO, there's a Sigmanauts, there's still the EF kicking around, there's a Sigmanauts mining group, there's Four Eyes developers, there's Rosen Bridge, there's all these organizations built in that kind of work, in harmony together, I'd say, and building like-minded things, right? So the strategy that at least I'm taking on is I'm very fond of the grassroots movement. I'm very fond of building from the bottom up, right? Again, I don't know if it's my ODD or whatever. I fucking hate top-down things. There's nothing that pisses me off more besides MBAs about top-down shoving stuff down your throat, because some dude 5 levels above you who has had never any experience down in the pit wants to think that he knows what's best on how the organization should run. Those are the most bullshit jobs in the fucking world, okay? You can quote me on that.
No, the most important thing to understand about Ergo is that the consensus of Ergo itself is controlled by the miners.
Yeah.
Right. So who has power to influence the system and create strategy and adjust any type of economic parameter that is within the config file? The miners. For me personally, I've always thought long-term crypto is going to split, right? And one side of that split is going to be what many people have called solar punks, which is like this socially acceptable, government acceptable money, blah, 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 blah. And, the other side is going to be kind of this censorship resistant, privacy enabled global system that's more of a counter movement, right? And I think there's going to be a lot of incentives for people to accept stable coins. I think there's going to be a lot of incentive for people to say, oh, we're going to tokenize everything and everybody's going to fucking love it, right? The problem with that is parent-child relationship,
Yeah.
right? You are now the child, and you have to understand that you're the child.
Get
right?
get 5% off for using the Amazon token stablecoin when you purchase
the other
a shit.
the other side of the tree is much more oriented towards parent, right? So on one side of the split, you're going to have parent-child, and people will love that. There's going to be a lot of incentives for projects to say, hey, if you can tokenize treasuries and we can finance our debt globally, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that absolutely love that, because suddenly our debt expenditure is not going to be as as it would unless we could finance it with stable coins, right? As an American, I can say that. And so I think there's going to be a lot of incentives to create like that path for a lot of systems. The problem is that once the majority of the value is controlled by parent-child relationships, the parent can do whatever, it wants, and the child's basically going to have to follow, and it'll show up in governance forks. It'll show up in a lot of things, and it'll kind of dilute to the point where it's all the same shit because the back end legislative parameters that control the system basically are the same. So whatever chain you're on, it doesn't fucking matter. You're in the same system, right? The other side, parent-parent relationship, that's actual freedom. What's the downside to freedom? Well, it takes responsibility, and most people don't want to be responsible, right? Crypto's a perfect example of that. You have the ability to be a full peer, to have full security. Like, there's not very many systems in this world that offer that level of power, and most people just do not give a shit because they bet on red. And I can't help that, right? So my goal has always been like censorship resistant, build the dark forest. And when people actually get tired of being the child and they want to be the parent, they'll show up. I can't control whatever global events happen to create those incentives. I don't really care about the marketing that's going to convince you to do there. I think that probably 5 to 10% of people will naturally like wake up and head in that direction anyway long term, and that's the counter economy, right? And what makes cryptocurrency survivable long term? The states can't stop it.
Yep.
Right. And so I can use the example of Rosen, right? I've co-founded Rosen. I've helped architect Rosen. I don't run a node. I don't sign anything. If the government shows up at my door, like I'm free from a certain element of like liability there because I don't actually sign transactions, right? And I think that as privacy gets more powerful long term, you'll have 5 to 10% of people that are like, wait, I don't want to be in this parent-child relationship because with AI, scanning, network surveillance, that's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And we're already seeing digital IDs being like presented to the mass population. We're already seeing these control systems getting stronger and stronger to where it's more clear you are the child, right? You do not have freedom. And sadly, in a digital world where that's how most people interact economically, that's how most people communicate, that's how most human coordination happens. Being a child instead of a parent in that reality is fucked. And that's just not a world that I accept and I want my children to live in. So that's why I'm here.
Two things,
Like
Joe.
it's not a matter of, oh, I want the number to go up in 5 minutes so I can sell. It's a matter of saying long term, if these systems fail and we're stuck in these permanent like parent-child relationships, we are fucked as a species because whoever controls the parameters of the parent has absolute control over our reality. And I don't want to live there. I don't want to have my children live there. The end. That's why I'm here. It's not even about money. It's literally about that.
Two things, Joe. One, you're right. We're never going to get the people that you hear say, I don't have to worry. Why are we hiding stuff? I don't have to worry about anything. If you're not doing anything wrong,
if people are
you're not
happy in a parent-child
you're
relationship,
never
let
going
them
to get
have a
those people.
fucking babysitter.
Exactly. Yep.
Let
Yep.
them have a fucking babysitter. That's
Yep.
honest.
Yep. And two, people who are, it's already happening. 2 years ago, I think I mentioned this a while ago, but 2 years ago at the blockchain conference in New York City on Roosevelt Island that I went to and spoke at, there was this company, and I'm looking at their webpage right now. I wanted to see if they're still around, and they are. It's called Snickerdoodle Labs. It's co-op with Avalanche, right? These people, their goal is ready. This must be 2 years ago exactly. Launching a consent layer on Avalanche, creating more equitable relationships between people, brands, and data. So I want you to think about what that means, guys. That means you download the Snickerdoodle app, you connect your Avalanche wallet, you connect your Ethereum wallet, you connect your Polygon wallet, you connect your Binance wallet. Done. You're fucked. every single transaction you do is now fed and sold to advertisers, it's over. You might as well be using your goddamn credit card. So this is already there. This was there 2 years ago, guys. So when you go to Coinbase, you go to other things, you think what you do or where you send out to is private? Think again. That shit's being sold like crazy, guys. Come on. So until people wake up to this or care, then we're not going to capture those people. It is what it is. But I agree. We're going to capture a percentage of people that care.
Sometimes I reframe the like terms, and it's like, how do you get someone that wants to be babysat basically? They want the parent-child relationship, right? How do you get someone that wants the parent-child relationship and turn them into a fucking adult? You don't. You say good luck. Pain is a powerful teacher. Eventually, you'll either choose to be adult or you'll remain a fucking baby. That's unpopular to say, but I don't know how to say it different in a technological perspective when you're talking about these type of parent-child relationships. I don't know how to say it differently.
Yeah.
Now you can change parent-child to client-server, right? That's ultimately what these peer-to-peer networks are about. Is peer-to-peer is adult to adult. There's no hierarchy of control. It's flat. That's why I'm here. That's why I think like this technology is valuable. It's not about, oh, want the number to go up. I care about the relationship there. And if that relationship there is wrong, technologically, most people are fucked. And we're headed in that direction. And that should scare the shit out of anyone that's capable of seeing that. Because once that becomes entrenched and people are born into it, they'll no longer question it.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps that should be something that we add into our outreach, right? Not in doomsday.
that's why I'm
not
here.
not in doomsday scenario. So not in like, oh, do this or you're fucked or you're in trouble, but more casually based. As a matter of fact.
Listen, you're better at babysitting than me. I'll never be a good babysitter. Like I admit that.
Luca, what do you think?
I
Are you sorry that you joined the call?
was a babysitter for a summer once.
Hopefully not in India.
No, in Montreal. They liked me. The kids liked me.
Why
Said I
wouldn't
was
they,
the best
Luca?
babysitter.
Everybody likes you, Luca.
He
Yeah,
has a good
His-
vibe.
he does.
When we had the Ergo meetup, he was a DJ actually.
Could you guys
I
imagine?
have to give him props for that.
Luca could release MP3s of bedtime stories for adults,
That
and
was-
people would buy them. I'd buy it, Luca. You release NFTs of bedtime stories, I'll buy it.
I was just playing music from like my workout playlist.
Was it like
So
what was it like Enya?
no. I actually don't know who that is.
Oh boy! All right, let's see. Let me check the timer. Oh, we've only been going an hour and 42 minutes. That's not bad, guys. Not bad at all. Anything else to talk about? What else? What else riles your gills?
Nothing really. That's why I'm here. Peer-to-peer networks. So I build. That's why I try to create software that people can locally host, and they're equals.
Yeah,
But
even if
that's
the point
something most people don't care about.
not just
That's
equals
just
Joe,
not-
not just equals Joe, but the important thing is if you're not an equal, you know it. You know it right there, and it shows you right in your face. So I think that's an important point too.
Yes and no. I mean, most people don't. Most people don't understand the systems that run the world enough to see that, right? Like a lot of people are very happy to use aggregators that will take their data and then weaponize it against them because they don't know better. And yes, that's sad, but they simply come with a certain like faith and goodwill that people won't take advantage of them.
Yeah.
Why would people not? Think about a user agreement, right? Most people don't read that, and it's complex legalese that you probably need representative counsel to understand anyway,
Yep.
right? They just are like, oh, okay, well, everybody else has. So then they get into like this tragedy of the masses where, if somebody else will use it and agree to use this system, it must be good. And that's not always the case. So know your assumptions and Try to understand where your power is and try to maximize its benefit to your own local state, your own family, your own community, your own like local reality. That's why I think these systems are valuable. Anything else, bet on red or you're dead. I don't fucking even understand that.
Yeah, I guess you could say people think of it like as in you're protected by the school of fish, right? Right? You're protected as being one of many, but in this case, a whole school of fish is already still starts out in the net.
That's
You're,
that's not
you,
how the
st- you
whales
s-
work
you
in the
start
ocean,
out
right? They
in
just
the
open their
net.
mouth and
Yep.
everything goes into the belly.
Yep. All right, Body Max Fitness is awake. Wow. Given the old sub blocks, I'm not sure about sub blocks. You'll have to talk to Kushi.
He's working on
Um,
the white paper.
he's
I
working on the
know
white
he
paper.
The problem with Alex is he's focused across 20 domains,
He is.
my
So,
like
some
in parallel, and
got a
he's
funny
smart
story.
enough to handle that.
Got
To
a
me,
funny story, Joe. Got a funny
yeah,
story. Texting Kushti today about I need him to kill the old testnet server and also kill the server that's running Ergo forums because they've moved to local servers. I text him and he writes back to me. Then I ask him a question and I have a silly comment and he writes me back. Hang on, I gotta read this because I don't remember it perfectly, but it was pretty funny. Um, um, he says, "Sir, everything's good. Why ping? Why to ping me with friendly banter? Or how it's called, jumping from one chat to another."
he's buried.
And so
Well, you,
then I occupied his time for the next 5 minutes. Poor guy. Yeah, he's buried. He does. He's got too many chats.
I'm buried. I'm buried. I think if you're not buried in life, that's kind of sad
No.
that you
Yeah.
have that much free bandwidth, right? You should focus on things until you're buried. And pain is a good teacher, and that's not to say you'll figure everything out all at once, but it's good to utilize all your energy or your bandwidth towards some purpose. If you're not, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going down a rabbit hole. So I was always curious about the difficulty adjustment algorithm,
That's the one
like
part of
in
Ergo.
general.
That's the one part of Ergo I'm too fucking dumb to touch. And I've always been
So
too dumb to
yeah,
touch, have any meaningful feedback or thought about because it's just
so,
not my
Wait,
it's not
aren't you the one that upset son of a tech? Wasn't that you with the difficulty adjustment?
I've been too dumb. I've always I've even when I was in the Ergo Foundation, I was like, please, someone like I want to throw out a grant. I'm too stupid to touch this
so
particular aspect of code because it's incredibly tricky,
All
right?
right.
People don't
so
really appreciate how tricky a difficulty adjustment is in proof of work. It's probably the hardest part, in my opinion.
What do you say, Luca?
yeah, so like it was so like on the side on my free time I try to self-study okay, so I studied physics in school, right? And physics and computer science. So,
Mm.
but I always wanted to learn like a more advanced like physics. But so I was interested in learning differential geometry because it's useful in like general relativity, but also in quantum field theory. Um, and like I took a general relativity class in my last year of school, but the teacher like ha sort of hand wave over the math, and it made me want to learn it more deeply. Um, so I try to like learn that on the side when I can. Um, but what's cool is like you think it's your like this esoteric mathematics, but it's actually used in many different areas, and one of them is actually control, the control theory.
Yeah, control
And
theory. It's
yes,
that
yes,
I
there's a thing called geometric control theory, where it uses tools from differential geometry to like analyze control systems. And there's another thing called stochastic, or yeah, I guess stochastic geometry or um, yeah, or stochastic control theory, where the like differential equation. So like the control systems are modeled as like differential equations. But in like stochastic control theory, the differential equations are like or stochastic. So like uh you're dealing with like probability distributions. So I was like, oh, this is like cool connections. Like and then okay, so what, right? So well like that's what difficulty adjustment is it's a well as far as I'm guessing is like a type of stochastic control system because you're trying to adjust uh so the control parameter is the difficulty. That's the thing you can change, and the thing you're trying to control is the the expected block time,
Yeah.
right? Which is a probabilistic thing,
Yeah, there's too many attack vectors there that I just get lost. Plus, everything in proof of work is generally pooled anyway, right?
right?
So, Luca, do I hear
But
that you're going to be offering
well,
some alternative difficulty adjustment
I hope
recommendations?
so.
well, it motivated me to like want to learn it because it actually seems really cool. Like,
No, it's
yeah,
the hardest part of proof of work in my opinion. And I will fully admit I'm too fucking stupid to come up with a solid like idea or solution or like something that I could stand behind and push without feeling like I'm dumb. So I think that's ultimately one of the best things about Sigma chains is to try to create these type of theories and throw them out there. It's above my head. I'm too stupid. Like I know in that I'm a complete idiot and I don't trust myself, if that makes sense. Because as soon as I think in one direction, I'm like, oh well, all of my conversations have led me to an attack vector that I didn't really see coming. So I don't know how to balance that, especially given that we proof of work is in a reality where most proof of work systems, there's just a few pools that control everything. And so all of your security assumptions are essentially based on those, like the honesty of those few actors not coordinating. But if you had a truly open system where everybody is like throwing out like building their own block templates and like you have a broad diversity of work, I don't understand the answer. Like I don't know how to balance the two even. Like what is now and what is possible, if that makes sense.
but in difficulty adjustment isn't the only like sort of like input into the system like the hash rate, like fluctuating hash rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you have like the assumed honesty of a couple of actors not coordinating versus a bunch, and then you have different attacks over different horizons or blocks. Like you have long range attacks and short range attacks, right? And then you have hopping, and I get lost in terms of how to balance all the different like variants. If that makes sense.
Right. Right. Ideally, you wouldn't care, like as long as the algorithm always gives you the same expected block time, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
Ideally, over some period of time, right?
right.
Because I mean you do have variance there as well. Like if you're always shooting for some average block time, and then what's the set for that average? Are we talking like however long it adjusts, and then how long should it adjust? Should it adjust every block? Should it adjust over a certain like segment of blocks? I don't know. I get lost. I've always tried to openly state I'm too stupid to touch difficulty adjustment. Don't ask.
Oh, look at this. We got another couple questions. Body Max Fitness. I'm actually impressed with
Great name.
the way he stated this. But yeah, oh yeah, good name. I'm impressed with the way he stated this compared to other questions that he's asked before. So, first question was, what are you guys looking forward to the most in 2026 Ergo? But the second question he asked, instead of price, why not price go up? What the hell's going on? Very impressive wording here. He says this year for non-builders was depressing. So I appreciate that he's saying it may have been great for builders, but it may have not been. It may have been depressing for non-builders. Not saying
Yeah.
that he's a speculator, but whatever. Yeah. So appreciate that. Appreciate that wording of that question, Body Max Fitness. In 2026, I'm looking forward to even more integration, at least at my local level at my college. Getting my big goal. Right now, I think in the AMA the other day, I said we have 3 places that kids can spend the tokens. And my big goal is to have them to be able to spend it at the actual eatery in our building. It's a big full fledged eatery. It'd be amazing if they could come and spend it there. So that's my big goal for at least that, to have an actual working example of ecosystem that can actually distribute and spend and cycle it around. So that's me. You guys?
Wait. They would spend what, like at a cafeteria?
You got it. So right now we distribute brick to students for recycling plots. We distribute it to them for check-in correctly to the shops for safety standards, all automatic through the back end. And they can spend it at the art store right now, which is where they can buy like thousands of dollars worth of like paper, art material, paintbrushes, paints. It's massive, huge art store that we have, supply store, and they can also spend it to buy plots, printing, and they can also spend it to buy filament for their 3D printing projects. So my ultimate goal is we have a big eatery downstairs, is to be able to have them spend it there as well for a sandwich, for drinks, for a Coke, a coffee, a muffin, that kind of stuff. But that's a totally different department. Everything that I've mentioned so far is all local. It's all part of my college. The eatery is run by essentially Campus Life, which is a centralized entity. So I have a meeting with them in January. So that's my goal, is to be able to offer that. Because when we offer that, now the playing field and the incentive for people to utilize our token is leveled, right? There's nobody that won't spend brick for a Coke or a smoothie or a coffee or a muffin. They're going to want to do it, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to. You guys?
I've I'm probably looking forward to Sigma Chains just because I think that's such an interesting experiment. But like long term, I do think that cryptocurrencies, privacy rights, property rights, right? Those are the two fundamental things that I think are the most important. And both of those can be like abstracted as like a parent to parent relationship, right? Versus parent to child relationship. Where do you have rights? Where do you have privacy rights? The right to have your own space. Where do you have property rights? The right to own your own space. And so long term, same as last year, same as the year before that, same as the year before that, same as the year before that. Like those two basic things in terms of looking at like your ability to have power and your own sovereign like rights, assumptions, understanding of control in a system is always going to be just the basic parameters that I'm interested in. I do think there's a lot of things we can experiment with, build with. But will people understand that? Will it be appreciated in terms of like their monetary output? I don't know. I can't answer that for anybody. But in terms of long term, I think the stable coin aspect is incredibly valuable. How do you create like stable value that can be trusted rather than just kind of this parent-child or the parent-child relationship there is, we have a backstop, somebody it's insured, right? That's the parent is the insurance.
We're too big to
Uh,
fail.
I think that's incredibly valuable. And proof of work, this idea that you don't need a parent-child in terms of the mining pool, I think that's incredibly valuable to explore and think about. Will that be respected in terms of how investors think about the space and how the key opinion influencers or whatever the fuck they call them these days are think about the space? Do they care? I don't know. I don't care. Like it's more or less that simple for me. It boils down to those key areas because that will define a lot of the future of humanity, in my opinion. And when you understand tech stacks, if you look at these parent-child relationships, they do understand an incredible, or they do like present an incredible amount of the future in terms of what is possible. How that relationship is determined is going to determine everything for humanity. So I don't give a fuck if the price goes up or down. I care about how that's defined for my children, my grandchildren, and the people that come after me because humanity will be in very different relationships with power depending on how that fleshes out. So that's why I'm here.
I've said many times throughout the years that I would love to not own. I say I would love to not own any Ergo, right? Except for what's necessary. I know that sounds weird, but I'd love to be able to stand on a pulpit at least, or preach what I'm doing with my actions, and what I'm trying to do to prove that this is where I'm coming from, right? I mean, I've put most of my Ergo back into the community. I've earned some Ergo back through helping with the InfraDAO, through helping the EF a little bit, but still, I don't know. There's no at this point. I'm not going to sell it, and there's no other project I want to put it in. So it is where it is. But I would be okay with just owning a couple hundred ergs and using that for transaction fees, or just buying ergs when I needed to fill up the students' wallets for transaction fees, and that's it, and just continue to do what I'm doing. So I always feel I'm at a weird crossroads there of wondering whether I should do that or not, because it would never change my resolve. That's the point, right? Whether I own 5,000 erg or I own 0 erg, my resolve would not change whatsoever for how I want to do that. Luca, what is your outlook for 2026 excited for Ergo?
For me, I'm personally excited about Lethos, so I would like to set up a mining rig eventually.
Good.
I just worry about like the
I might
noise,
have
but
DM me your address. I might have enough spare parts around here that we can create some freaking rig for you.
I have a spare like GPU that I've just
What do you have for a
that was gonna
GPU, Luca?
I
I might have
I
a
don't
few
remember.
motherboards, one of them that works. Let's see.
I
Send me
just
a DM. We'll try to coordinate.
okay. I was just worried about the noise level, like it, because if I don't know where to put it.
No,
Just
that's
But
just
always.
tone, just tone it down to 75%, cool and quiet.
Yeah, you can always draw it down if you're not trying to just be profitable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of weird things over the years. People putting in coolers or all kinds of weird.
I mean, it's winter now too in Montreal, so
Yeah, you're in Canada, so you do have the winter advantage.
Yeah, that's true. You
cheap hydro as well, cheap
you could
electricity.
get one of those window unit air conditioner tubes and just feed it into a little box where your thing is, and just open it a little bit so a little bit of cold air could come in and counteract whatever hot air is coming from the thing. Or just turn your heat down and let the thing run open in your apartment or your house.
Well, at least here anyway, summer you have a little bit extra excess solar capacity, and winter you need the heat. That's not to say I'm like the GPU king, but I think that makes a lot of sense.
Nice. All right, let me see. Any more questions? No more questions. Um, oh, Byron just came on. What is this late space? LOL. 2 hours and 2 minutes
Here's
we've
the
been going.
Byron. He showed up to Colorado.
Oh, I got this mug in Amsterdam,
Oh, nice.
connecting. It was like a layover to go to before India.
Did you get anything? You have time to enjoy yourself in India at least, Luca? Did you have
I
any
got some.
enjoyment?
Went to the museum.
To
I
the
got. I went to. I got on a tuk-tuk. It's pretty cool. Oh, I bought a scarf for my mom. That was the part. That was the other part of the scam. So the tuk-tuk driver's in on it, right? And because he knows exactly where to bring you.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have any rupees on me because so in India they actually have digital payments, but it's like it's called UPI and it's like QR code, but it's still like connected to your bank account. But or you can also pay with like with like your phone, like tap and pay for like with Google Pay or Apple Pay.
Luca.
But the tuk-tuk drivers they only accept the UPI or like cash. So he brought me to like ATM. But like before the ATM, he's like, okay, I'm gonna bring you to this clothing store. I want to show. Just go in and walk around, and
Look at you
then,
fucking
and
killing me,
So
then,
man.
you overpaid for your scarf and you overpaid for
yeah,
the
exactly, yeah.
exchange, but he had a good time.
So the guy inside is like, he walks here. I, it's like a funhouse mirror. It's like there's a bunch of rooms, and in each room there's like a different guy who's like trying to sell you like this like jewelry, clothing, and then but then there's like always some other room, and it's like this weird maze. Uh, yeah, they tried to sell me like authentic clothing, and it's like, okay, why don't you get a scarf for your mom? I was like, okay, fine, and yeah,
So,
$50 for a scarf.
so the real winner in the end of the trip was Mama Luca.
You're right. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Luca, you got to write a book, man. And then sell your voiceover on it. Win-win. Oh, that's amazing. At what point did you? Can you tell me at what point did you feel it was a scam, or did you feel early on that it was a scam, but then you just were trying to figure out a way out, kind of thing?
So when I was at the tourism place, and the guy's like writing out on a piece of paper like this itinerary of things to do, and then he pulls out like the mobile like checking machine. He's like, it's time to pay now. I'm like, what? Yeah. But the guy was really good salesman. Like he like pressures you into it, and like, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a talent. How was his English was really good?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Oh,
But I was also jet lagged. Really bad. 20 hours
oh,
flight.
poor you, man. I'm glad you made it out the other side, sir. And
Yeah,
you,
the hackathon itself looks pretty good.
yeah.
I was,
Yeah, I saw a recap video. It seemed pretty cool actually.
yeah,
Wow.
A lot of people joined, participated.
that's
Uh,
good.
I saw so I was working on what's it called? Claude and I decided to work on the testnet explorer today. When I say Claude, I mean
Yeah, I was like,
Anthropic. Yeah, come on, I'm a Perl developer. I'm not gonna mess around with 50,000. I'm used to writing one or two scripts that relate to each other. No, Jay, I don't want to deal with 5,000 different little tiny files that you have to update 50 things in. Fuck that, Luca. That's not my jam. So anyway, I was working on it, getting it all shored up, and actually the main Explorer branch needs quite a few updates with fixing the Java relationships because it breaks when you do it. So that's got to be worked on too. But I lost track of where I was going with this.
you
And
and Claude were working on something.
yeah, that's where I lost track. Claude and I were working on doing that, but I don't know. That's it, guys. I lost it. It's 2 a.m.
Well,
and
on
2:30.
it's off the rails now.
It's off the rails.
Thank you, Luca, for coming and holding QX together for us
I
all
know,
this time.
Jesus Christ. But I had a good point
It's
too.
bad without you, buddy.
Can't remember what my point was. What was it? I don't know. Bottom line, I'm resyncing. I had to resync my node on my backup Explorer because I hadn't moved to Durock's database, and I had the classic run out of space, corrupt the node kind of stuff. Classic, right? I've done that like 50 times in my life on Ergo so far. Byron, you missed some Joe rants. You missed some good Joe rants. If you took a shot every time he said the word parent and child, you'd be in the hospital by now, Byron. It was a good rant, though, guys. All right. We've managed to upset Body Max Fitness, which is a normal for any live broadcast that we do. Typically, he's a little more ferocious in the chats.
There are a lot of people that would probably be better at communicating to the average user investor than me, but they don't show up on these videos. So you're stuck with me until you show up, and I'd be happy to disappear.
Like I said to T Mats in chat the other day when he was upset at me for saying something about something, or maybe it was his friend that was upset. He was ranting about Glasgow setting up the chats in Discord and having administrator rights over a lot of them. And he's like, give us ownership, put it over to the community, blah, blah, blah. I said to him, buddy, this is proof of work, not proof of stake. You want ownership, just fucking work for it. Take it. Make chats, make it better than what Glasgow's set up. Invite people there, make it more appealing. Let it free for all if you think that's going to be better. Go for it. I just wish people would get that concept, It's... All right, you look tired, Joe. It's only midnight, though. It's only midnight 30. That's early. Luke and I, it's 2:30 a.m. I have to go upstairs, Joe.
I was up and in the car early today. I had shit to do. So
I got to go get my new puppy, take him outside to pee, and then go back up, put him away, and get in bed. Then be up in 3.5 hours to take my kid to basketball. So,
all right, well,
you going to sleep in, Luca? You going to go to bed? You going to stay up and come up with some genius plan for the difficulty adjustment?
No. No, that's well, it seems like an interesting subject to study, geometric control theory, but it's like a mountain. So
yeah,
yes.
that's on you, buddy. It's above me. So
I love Body Max Fitness has sorry, go for it, Luca.
But like manifold theory and then differential geometry is a very beautiful subject.
I fell asleep already when you just said that.
Okay.
Body Max Fitness has a great idea. He says, give all of the EF funds to the community because the EF is useless. He's such a smart guy. How come we didn't think of that before, guys? Oh, Joe had to go offline. He couldn't take it anymore.
I'm just trying to be nice.
I know. I can't be nice when people say, I can't be nice when people
I do think in the long arc of time, right? Because I was part of the EF. I think we produced a lot of open source code and sponsored a lot of open source code. Created a lot of community educational content, which is powerful. And ultimately it's what matters in terms of why you should be a peer. And I really, when I came in, the first thing I demanded was transparency in terms of spending, and all of those audits are public. So,
Joe, I'm going to be meaner than you right now, okay? We're going to switch roles, okay?
oh shit.
Yeah. The EF had a mission when they started out. Read the fucking manifesto, Body Max, all right? The EF's mission was to bootstrap a community that could run Ergo Chain by itself without the EF, right? And I think they did, regardless of how you think they're performing right now, what is it, 6 years after Mania, when we launched, 2019, right? Regardless of what you think they're doing now, right? They did an extremely good job of bootstrapping community. And the community has just as much responsibility in this matter of whatever you're pissed at, Body Max Fitness, okay? So the community needs to step up as well. The community needs to come in and jump in and take the reins for this kind of thing. So you're welcome to sit there and complain about the EF, but you're complaining about something the EF's already built to a stage where you're supposed to come in and pick up the reins and continue on. So your complaints really kind of fall, at least deft at my feet. Sorry about
All I have to say, QX, is fuck your feet and fuck your complaints. I'm going to go to bed.
It was great to see everybody tonight. Thanks so much for coming out. Thanks, Luca. We lost Joe. That was a good sign off. Luca, have fun reading your differential equations of something theory.
Manifolds and then differential geometry.
Perfect. All right. And thanks, everybody. Hopefully Body Mass Fitness can take my criticism in stride and with a friendly heart and know that we're all in the same ecosystem here. And we're all here to better Ergo and move it forward. And perfect. Body Max Fitness didn't get at all what I just said in the last 10 minutes. I'm happy to take the Rails, give us access and passwords. There's no access and passwords, but make chats, make accounts, bring people in, make your own community. Go for it. You have full control. Take as much power as you can. Control as you can, as Kushi would say. Luca, let's go to bed.